So Lenny and I flew to South Africa to start a 2-week trip that has really been the trip of our life.
Amazing.
Yeah. And the way we started this adventure, it all started by purchasing our second Leopard catamaran and wanting to come see the delivery and check the boat out in Cape Town where it was manufactured. So the journey started by us flying to a game park in northern South Africa called Sabi Sabi. And the big thing in game parks is wanting to see all of the animals. And the hardest one to see is
the leopard.
And not only did we see the leopard, we saw them every day.
Yeah.
And we have selfies with a leopard, and we can't wait to print a photo of it and have it inside the boat.
Mounted in the boat, yes.
Yeah. And what else do we see at the game park?
We saw all the required animals. Their big thing is the big five, which are the most dangerous to encounter on foot, is what we've been told. And we saw every single one of them.
Yeah, elephant,
rhinoceros,
buffalo, lion,
and the leopard.
And the leopard, yeah. Along with giraffes and zebras and everything else. So that was great. And when we left the game park after 4 days, we thought that that was all Africa, you know, that we just thought that was going to be the highlight of our trip. And we were wrong, because we hadn't been to Cape Town yet. And Cape Town has its own big five, I would say.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and I would say one is buying a new Leopard and taking delivery here. The trip in Cape Town is the trip of a lifetime. And I would say in equal measure with the game park, and better than any other trip that Lenny and I have ever been on.
So while in Cape Town, we were able to experience everything that Cape Town has to offer. Not only the Leopard factory in Robertson and Kane, which was amazing to visit, but we saw all the other things at Cape Town.
Yeah, so well, the first thing that happened is we flew in, and we knew that Robertson and Kane and Leopard catamarans knew that we were coming, but we really didn't know what to expect for this experience. And we called them, and they put us in touch with their local liaison, and they said, well, we're starting with a reveal of the new boat. So we got to Cape Town like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and at 5 o'clock, they brought us down to the boat for the first reveal. And remember, we bought what they call the performance version of the Leopard 50, which doesn't have the fly bridge and doesn't have some other things. It's got a lower boom, a little more sail area, and it's more designed for people like us that plan on crossing oceans and doing some far and wide cruising, and we just didn't need the platform on the second floor, although it'd be nice to have. So this was the first one they produced. So we come walking down the dock on Friday night after placing this order, how long ago?
2 years ago.
Yeah, a year and a half or 2 years ago, and then walking down the dock and then seeing your new boat for the first time tied up there. And it was a kind of, I would say it's like a once in a lifetime experience.
Amazing, yeah.
And but who knows, we may build another boat one day, so maybe even more than once in a lifetime.
Everybody should try to see it.
Yeah,
Cape Town.
Yeah. If you can make the trip, and if you can buy this boat, you can. If you can buy a Leopard, it's well worth it to come down and see the boat here and see what the factory and Leopard catamarans had in store for us. So the reveal was one thing, and that was really special. And then the next day, they picked us up and took us on a tour to kind of give us an overview of Cape Town. And so the first thing we did was go around Table Mountain. And I have to say, you cannot stop looking at Table Mountain. Our room faces Table Mountain, and I've asked every South African, do you ever get bored of looking at that mountain? And they say, nope, we never get bored.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's hard to look away. It's just like a kind of a wonder of nature. Anyway, so they took us around Table Mountain and showed us some of the different neighborhoods and areas in south of Cape Town. And the first place they took us to was
where the penguins are.
Penguin Beach.
Yes, it's amazing. It's a habitat that they protect the penguins, and they were all right there on the beach, and we were able to walk around and play with them and take pictures with them, and it was really beautiful.
The penguins loved Lenny, I can tell you that. When I got near them, they ran away.
Yeah.
When Lenny got on her knees, they came right to her.
But it was beautiful.
So yeah, and what I didn't know about penguins is they can't fly. And I guess that's the whole thing.
We saw them swim.
Yeah, they've got these little tiny wings.
They're
It's a flightless bird. I actually did know that, I just forgot.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then after we left the penguins, they took us down to a place called Cape Point. So we got to do some sightseeing down there. So after Cape Point, they drove us back on what they called the scenic route, which was funny because the
other route seemed more scenic.
Yeah, so
everything is scenic here.
Everything is scenic in Cape Town. So they took us back on this amazing, I don't even know how to describe this road, but it goes up the side of the mountain to a place called Chapman's Point. And the road is cut into the side of this seemingly like 500 or 1,000 foot vertical wall. And so it's just a beautiful drive with amazing scenery. And we stopped at Chapman's Point and got a look at the view and bought some handicraft from some local vendor.
Beautiful view.
Yeah. So, and we didn't get back there on this trip, but that's one of the things that I would really want to see when we come back to Cape Town, because we will come back to Cape Town. So that was the end of our Sunday. And then the next big event was going to the Robertson Cane factory. And Lenny and I have owned several boats, as you know. And we've never been to a boat manufacturing facility. So it was the first time for us. Now, we'd seen their corporate video, which is awesome. If you haven't looked at that, please go on Leopard Catamarans or Robertson Cane and look at their corporate video. So you get an idea of how the boats are produced. And although they call these production boats, it's hard to say production because it's not like they build thousands of boats. It's not like a car manufacturer or anything. It takes a tremendous amount of handwork to build a structure like a catamaran like this, and they build a few hundred boats a year. So it's not like an iPhone or a BMW. I mean, it's in my opinion, it's kind of semi-custom, and of course, if you look at the options list, you can outfit it to your liking 1,000 different ways. And we've had 2 experiences now with Leopard, and it was great. So seeing the factory was amazing.
It was amazing. And the systems that they have in place and the quality control they have in place was really impressive.
Yeah, so when we arrived at the factory, it was really special because Peter Gilliam, who is the managing director of Robertson Cane, and he's held that position for a year, he came down and introduced himself and gave us a personal tour through the Leopard 50 factory. And that was awesome to see where the 50s were built. And then we left the Leopard 50 factory because we wanted to see the Leopard 45 line, which is another, it's in another location, and it's where one of their molding shops was. So we got to see them take the hull from the whole mold to the whole layup process in vacuum resin infusion, and how the boat moves down the line every 4 days and then into a pool for testing of the engines and generators and air conditioners.
And the components that go in the boat at different times.
Yeah, and but what Lenny and I think was the best part of the factory tour was meeting the people that work on the boats. They weren't, nobody was...
just sitting around.
Nobody was sitting around. They were working hard and fast with smiles on their faces. Now, I'm sure they've seen people on tours before, but they took pictures with us. They showed us what they were doing. And then we specifically got to meet a lot of the team leaders and group leaders on all the different stations. And they showed us all their QC processes. In fact, the QC process was one of the big things that everybody focused on so much, along with the assembly. And then after we got into the last bay and saw the boat splash in the water in their tank in the factory, then they showed us the last section where they clean them up and polish them and put them on a truck and take them to be launched. So
it was a wonderful experience and really changed our whole outlook on Robertson.
Yeah, I'll never look at this boat again because now I don't see our Leopard 50. I see all the people working on it and what went into it and how it was manufactured. Yeah, we literally left that night and I said, I'll never look at the boat the same way again. Or any boat maybe for that matter.
Right.
So anyway.
Wonderful experience.
Yeah, so that was the Robertson Cane factory. So then we had some more incredible days ahead of us. They took us out on a test sail, and we were able to sail the boat in the bay right off of Cape Town here. And we had winds in excess of 30 knots. And we were able to tack the boat upwind and jibe downwind. And it was a great experience.
But it was amazing to see what the boat can do in these conditions of South Africa, because it's something completely different than anything we've ever seen.
You'll never see these conditions again.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Being able to raise all the sails and use the sails and see what it does and how it performs is really, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So then we were able to do another test sail, and this one was really special because this was with Alex Simonis, who, as you may know, is the designer for many of the Leopard catamaran lines, including the 50. And I don't know how we were able to arrange this or if we just got lucky, but we went sailing with Alex for a day. And we put 60 miles on the boat, and we tacked it down toward Cape Point. And at one point we had over 40 knots of wind, I think 42 knots of wind coming over the deck. And watching a naval architect and a longtime professional sailor or sailing expert put this boat through the paces. It wasn't Lenny and I sailing the boat anymore. It was Lenny and I watching Alex sail the boat.
And learning. I think Randy learned a lot. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
What the boat can do that we didn't necessarily look at.
Yeah, one thing I can tell you is don't be afraid to sail in 40 knots of wind. It's okay, the boat can handle it. They're designed for it. But you should reduce sail,
at some point.
Which Alex didn't always do. So, and we also got the boat moving in excess of 15 knots in some cases.
It was sporty.
So she really flew, and it was a wonderful test sail. And I can tell anybody out there, if you're not buying a Leopard catamaran, but you're planning an excellent trip, coming to South Africa would be a trip of a lifetime. And if you're lucky enough to be able to buy a catamaran from Leopard and Robertson Cane and come down here and see the factory and see it be manufactured, it's just a once-in-a-lifetime experience that I hope that you can get to enjoy if you buy one of these boats.